Greetings and welcome to the Griff Report, Divisional Playoff Round. We start in Baltimore, where the Texans visit the Ravens. It's this year's surprise team versus the Super Bowl favorite to start the Divisional Round. Like the Browns, these two met earlier this year. It was a 25-9 Week 1, so that was Stroud's first game, and he's developed since that day where he threw for 242 yards, but was sacked 5 times, and the Texans didn't find the end zone. Oddly enough, it was Jackson's second lowest yardage output for the year, only 169 yards, and an efficient 17 of 22 with 38 yards on the ground. Things were 7-6 at halftime in that game, so don't get worried if it's close at halftime. Turning to Saturday's game, we see the big number here with Ravens laying 9.5, 49ers laying 10. Problem here with these type of games, these stats here, the home teams in the divisional round, 26-10 straight up, 18-17-1 against the spread. Home favorites of 7.5 points or more, 20-8 straight up, 11-18 versus the spread last 20 seasons. Home favorites of 7 points or fewer are 29-15 straight up, and 22-21-1 against the spread. So the home teams here are winning around 70%, but when favored, they're only covering 38% of the time. Brings us to look at the Texans, and are they a danger to pull the upset here? The deep passing game is where I would consider the Texans to be a danger, at least last week and a few times during the year. Throughout the season, it's been the ability to get vertical. That's what broke the Browns' defense apart last week. Ravens' defense is actually first in completion percentage allowed, passing yards per attempt, 7.1, pass TD to interception ratio, and passer rating allowed on deep passes for the 2023 regular season. That came from NFL.com, though. The link is at the bottom there. The only time a rookie has beat both the number one scoring defense and number one yardage defense in a single playoff was Joe Montana. So that's what Stroud and the Texans are setting out to do here. Another big factor here is they aren't expecting that Houston is going to be able to run the ball very well, or they didn't in Week 1. So where's the money going in this game at consensus? 56% on minus 9.5. 83% on the minus 450 money line, 70% on the over 43.5. A huge adjustment up from 35 to move that line up, that 8.5 points. I'm not on a total play in this game. Bet it if you like it, I guess. Last week betting the money line would have been horse in the Dallas game, but this isn't Dallas. But there is a lot of kind of similarities here. Is Lamar Jackson's playoff record. They aren't really talking about it a whole lot, but he's 1-3 in 4 playoff appearances, 3 touchdowns, 5 interceptions in those playoff games. The only win was a 20-13 win that they had there. Looking at the stats from Week 1, if they are to cover, it's going to be one where they're going to have long drives, and probably not going to be able to get real vertical against the Texans, even though they beat them in that Week 1 matchup. This is a different team look and feel completely for both these squads, really. The Ravens have reeled off they had six double-digit wins in a row following the game where they were up double digits and the Browns came back and beat them. They had a total of 10 double-digit wins for the season. At the 9.5, my thought process usually hold out for a better number, considering it was 7-6 at halftime. If the Texans can get the lead, you might be able to lay less than 9.5. Now, if it goes 14-0 Ravens in the first half, you might have missed that completely. It's a big risk there, laying the minus 450, but it appears to be a popular pick as well. Now, we'll see what happens. It's a tough game. A lot of points to cover. Like I said, personally, I'm going to try to get a better number myself, but my pick against the spread is Ravens minus 9.5. My prediction is 31-20 Ravens. Now to the second game, the Saturday matchup features two coaches familiar with each other's offense. As has been said on Sirius NFL Blitz this week, they run the exact same offense. The Packers still have hope the matchup will hold true to the way it's been the past three matchups, with Green Bay winning twice and losing by 3 the other time. But it's Love at quarterback now, and those were Aaron Rodgers' teams, and we'll see how he holds up here on the road for the second playoff game here. The last one was that 13-10 snow playoff game at Lambeau. And I mean, you had the two Packers wins before that, but I mean, those are the recent ones since Matt LaFleur has been the coach there. Does that trend stick around, or with Love at quarterback, or is it going to be a 49ers blowout as we've seen 11 times this year, double-digit wins for the 49ers? The thing is, when it was close, only once they had a 7-point win. The other times when it was close were losses for the 49ers. They got Mr. Relevant. Draft day is very relevant Saturday. Can Green Bay replicate the defensive performance that the Browns and the Ravens put up? Well, the Vikings as well put up, but against the 49ers, the key thing there was, Kittle and Samuel were injured in the Browns game, and when they were out, they're not the same team. Now, the Ravens went out and beat the 49ers full squad there. Both these teams are really tough, because you can look and say, well, the 49ers should win 80% of the consensus on the over 50.5. Are we going to have another offensive showcase like the Packers game last week? The guys putting their money on it think so, with 80% going on that over 50.5. That's a high number, and we'll see how that goes. 62% on the 49ers laying 10, 84% on the money line 49ers as well. But I would take the underdog on both these games before I would take both favorites laying the big spread here. A lot of people just go with the underdogs blindly on these big numbers like this, and I mean, they're not wrong. Sometimes the game just ends how it ends. My prediction: 30-24, 49ers win, Packers cover on the Sunday. A lot of people are expecting the Bucs to be able to move the ball against the Lions secondary, but they should have been expected to do that earlier by theory. I guess when they played earlier down in Tampa Bay, that was a 20-6 win for Detroit. It was Goff throwing for 344 and 2 touchdowns in that one. What about the pressure from the Bucs D? They got 3 sacks, no interceptions. Mayfield was held to a 56.8 passer rating and get slightly over 200 yards and 1 interception. Even though it was a blowout last week, I scratched the Eagles. Once the news of A.J. Brown being out came out, the Eagles they didn't compete in that game. The Lions, they want to win. There's something going on there that hasn't happened ever. It's the second home playoff game for Detroit. You got Eminem making post about his New Year's resolution is that the Lions will win the Super Bowl. I'm gonna hold up with jumping on the bandwagon with that one, but for right now, hoping the line gets a slight drop in the early going, or do you go with the Lions if they get a fast start? They've had some fast starts. They went 14-3 last week. There was the New Orleans game. They jumped out 21-0. They've had a couple games where they've jumped out early, and then they've had some games where they didn't show up in the first half, like Thanksgiving Day. So we'll see which Lions team shows up here. 60% on the Lions, 90% on the money line minus 265. 56% on the over 49, but like I said, it was 20-6 the last time when they played. So I'm definitely not liking that over. There's no easy win here. Once again, I could be wrong with the guys on Sirius Radio. They were giving a lot of talk to Mike Evans being unable to be covered properly by the Lions defense, making them an upset possibility. I'm not on board with that. My prediction is 30-23 Lions. Lions minus 6 is my pick. It's a tough tough going. I mean, they've got the big number there. It'd be nice if it was 4, but, you know, it is what it is. You know, these are tough games. And the heavyweight main event comes next on Sunday night is snow-covered Buffalo. Any questions about could the Chiefs wide receivers hold on to the ball were answered versus the Dolphins. Mahomes in his first road playoff game is now an underdog Sunday. You know, he has a great record as an underdog. He's only been an underdog several times in his career. Where they might have an advantage, the Bills have injuries on their defense, particularly at linebacker. These two met in Kansas City earlier this year. It was the Bills who escaped with the victory, where it was first 1-20 wins in that one, and it was Buffalo 20-17. 53% on the under 45.5, and many experts think that is the best play of the day, despite the Bills averaging 29.6 at home and the Chiefs averaging 20.9 on the road. I can see this thing going over at, say, 27-20, but I mean, to me, that's betting on something that it could go either way, and I don't think either of the teams really care if the game goes over and under. They're trying to win. The prior meeting was 24-20, and then out of the previous 6 games that these two have played since 2020, 3 of those have been would have gone over what the total is Sunday. So don't think it can't go over. It very well could. The Bills taking 59% of the money line, minus 146, and 58% minus 2.5. I was unsure if the Chiefs were at the same level last week, but they showed up and showed out. This is a different matchup besides the whole Bills Mafia thing. The thing is, this is the most likely to see an outright upset on Sunday. I mean, you know, the Bills, they have their bettors. You know, they made the whole Bills Mafia thing, and I mean, a lot of people like the Bills. This seems to be their most complete team that they've had. They have to overcome those experiences that they've come short in the past few years. They've lost to the Chiefs in the AFC Championship. You know, those losses have to be learning lessons and stepping stones for success if they're gonna overcome here. And if not, you know, nobody's gonna be surprised if the Chiefs walk out of there with a win. You know, these are tough games this weekend. I could very well go 0-4 here, but I do the best I can. Usually either have the right pick or the right information was in the paragraph, and I just decided to go the other way. It happens sometimes. My play going over to the money line, in case this thing goes 23-22, but my prediction is 23-19. Bills win. As always, best of luck. Enjoy your weekend. And remember, if you're going to wager, make sure this is not where you bet too much, end up getting an ulcer. Maybe your team puts you in the worst 3 hours in sports, but that's being on the wrong end of the blowout like the Packers did to me last weekend. They put me to bed. As always, best of luck. Enjoy your weekend.